Welcome back to Bariatric Besties! Mallory and I, this is my sister Mallory. In case you are new to this channel and have not yet seen a Bariatric Besties episode, this is my younger sister Mallory. We have both had weight loss surgery. We both had VSG, though almost 3 years.
Yeah, 2.5.
Almost 6 years. So we are in various points, but we are here celebrating. And by here, I mean in Sonoma County. If you saw the video prior to this, it was the California vlog. We are actually in the Airbnb in Sonoma. And because I have Mallory for this locked in period of time, we thought, let's have some wine and answer your questions.
Obviously.
Obviously. Is this the Gloria Ferrer?
It is.
It's from one of the wineries we visited.
It's delicious.
It is.
It's actually from Whole Foods.
Right?
But
well, Whole Foods here in California, yes, because they carry all the the local vineyards.
A local wine.
Yeah.
That we bought at Whole Foods.
Yes. Okay. I posted to both Instagram and YouTube some question boxes so you could ask us your bariatric questions. And there will be a whole video coming on wine intake and VSG tummies. So you should be subscribed. You should be subscribed. And then you get to see more of Mallory, which is the reason this channel exists. So
obviously.
Yeah. Question 1. It's about a stall.
Okay.
I had my surgery a month ago and I'm on a stall already. Is this normal so early? How did you manage to get water down having to wait 30 minutes before and after drinking? Sometimes I get distracted and forget, but the alarm system isn't working either. Okay, so you are like fresh to post-op world.
Yeah,
welcome.
Man, you're in it right now.
You're in it, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the stall first, I think.
I think that in those first 6 to 8 weeks, you're just it's so unpredictable.
Well,
you're losing, you're stalling, you're losing, you're stalling, and then after you're stalling, you're gonna be like, oh look, I'm 8 pounds down.
Right. I feel like there are some normal stall times. 3 weeks can be the first, which it seems like that's what you're going through. And then it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and the stalls start to happen a little more frequently. And while it feels terrible while you're in one,
because you're I just did this.
Right.
Why did I do it if I'm not gonna lose weight?
Right, and you think you broke it or that it's not working for you. That's not true. However, your hormones are just catching up. So it's actually a good thing because it means that your hormones are stabilizing. All you need to do to get through that, because they can last a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, depending on where you are, just keep going. Get your water in, get your protein in, take your vitamins. That's a huge reason for a stall that a lot of people don't realize, because if you're vitamin deficient, your body is clinging to everything you're eating in order to get those vitamins.
I think too, in that first 4 to 6 weeks, I focused more on getting my liquids, they were protein shakes mostly. So it wasn't a either or.
Do you mean the liquids versus the food?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was more like she's asking about how do you get all your liquids. You don't meet your hydration goals for a while.
Right.
It's just, you can't.
You can't.
There's no way.
Especially when you reincorporate soft real food, right? Because you're setting those timers.
But it was more I'm gonna drink my protein shake and then everything I drink after that is just gonna be water, even if it's not meeting my hydration goals.
Right.
It's better than not taking in any water.
Definitely. And I liked starting the day with protein because then you can just drink water and protein both simultaneously until you need to pause for lunch.
And I took I drank 2 protein shakes a day for a really long time. Just because
I don't usually recommend that.
I don't anymore. But by a really long time, everything feels really long.
It feels really long, especially in the
beginning. 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I drank 1 in the morning and then 1 in the evening because there was just no possible way I could eat enough to get the protein I needed.
Yeah.
And there was no way I could drink enough water to get the hydration I needed, and this was 2 birds with 1 stone.
You could also, for the water part, be adding in sugar-free electrolytes to your water to try to up your hydration.
Yeah.
Or, and this seems like more of an extreme measure, but if in your area they offer med spas that will do an IV bag for you, where it's not, I know, it's not everybody's favorite, but if you're worried about hydration and you want to prevent anything from getting packed or blocked up, in your intestines, then yes, you don't want to have to be readmitted to the ER because you are dehydrated. So like you can preventatively
I think if you're just worried about meeting your water goal, like don't worry about that yet. Just drink enough to stay hydrated.
And I would say that the protein's going to be more important. And we're not doctors.
We're not.
But like through my experience, the protein's more important because it will help you prevent excessive hair loss. It's going to help your organs heal. The water, yes, get it in as much as you can and try to work your way up.
But if you're not dehydrated, then I would say like you'll get there.
You'll get there.
You'll get there.
But in the beginning when they're like, get in 80 grams of protein and
you're like
60 ounces of water, you're like, oh cool, I love a tablespoon at a time.
I had a really hard time reaching my hydration goals in the beginning. And when I talked to my nutritionist about it, she was like, but are you dehydrated? And I was like, no.
I don't think
she was
so.
like, okay. Like,
are you getting pennies from water?
Are you dehydrated? I was like, no.
So I know for you, the alarm system didn't work either. Did you have a solution to that?
So a month in, I'm trying to think, like I was back at school. I just made it a point to carry my water bottle everywhere.
Yeah, do you have a emotional support water bottle?
You need one.
You need one.
Because I just carried it everywhere and that was how I did it.
Little sips all day.
Little sips all day because I'm not a great rememberer.
She has ADD.
There's some ADHD and I struggle to remember. So if it's not directly in front of my face, I'm not doing it.
One of my clients also has ADD and she used a visual timer meant for little kids that I think she got on Amazon, and it like instead of making noise would blink, and she set it to every 90 seconds. She put it on her computer screen and it would blink every 90 seconds and she would take a sip and just hit start and then it would restart the 90 seconds and that worked for her.
Well,
because she worked from home.
So I think the problem I had too was not picking my water bottle back up after the 30 minutes. So like you would eat and then 30 minutes later you're supposed to start drinking again or whatever. And I would forget after that 30 minutes was up. And that's when alarms helped me.
Okay, I was gonna say, what about like the timer water bottles?
But that also,
like those or no?
No. They didn't help me. The 30 minutes only helped me because of my job. I'm a teacher. So like I knew exactly what time I was going to be eating lunch every day.
Okay.
And exactly what 30 minutes after that is.
So you knew when you could start again.
So I like could set a timer every day on my phone for that 30 minutes after lunch. And then I would be like, oh, stupid, pick up your water.
One of my clients also printed out labels, like from a label maker, that said the times when she could start drinking again and then like how many ounces she wanted to be in by that time. You bought me actually a big pink,
like
350 ounces.
It's like a gallon.
It was like 90 ounces. There was so many water bottle. But my problem with that before I broke the lid and couldn't use it anymore was that it didn't keep my water cold.
Right.
So it was so heavy to carry.
You like a teeny water bottle.
I do. I prefer, so in my collection of tumblers.
That might be something that helps.
So I like my new Owala. Did you see they came out with a Disney Princess collection?
No.
So it's like the colors of Disney princesses and then it comes with stickers that you can add on to them. Like the Moana one is so cute. But I just bought a new Owala and I think that one is 24 ounces.
Yeah.
And the one that my favorite Stanley, I get made fun of all the time for because it's like a baby.
16 ounces.
It's like a baby Stanley, but I feel like when I finish it, it's an accomplishment and I'm like, I did it. Whereas when I carry my big 40 ounce one, I'm like,
it's never ending.
Slugging away at it and it's never ending.
So maybe try just keeping like small amounts of water near you.
Yeah. And finishing it and being like,
and then you're like motivated to refill.
Yeah, exactly. I like that because I think it leads me on a path of success instead of like doomed failure of you're not getting it.
I don't like that because I'll forget to refill it and then I'll never drink any water ever again.
So we have to figure out what your personal profile is. And you might have to try both,
See what works.
Because you won't know. And you might be someone who likes room temperature water. I like mine ice cold with 1,000 lemons in it. Just between us friends, I stole 2 lemons from one of the wineries.
She has wounds.
I have wounds. You know my skin is sensitive.
I
cut myself.
She didn't climb. She leaped into a lemon tree.
It is the 3rd lemon of this trip that I have stolen. I'm a sucker for lemons.
I know you are.
We made juice this morning with really good lemons.
And oranges, because nobody just drinks lemon juice.
Well, if you saw the grocery haul in the last video, very sexy. I like used a juicer today for the first time.
She didn't like it?
I didn't like it. I would rather hand squeeze my juice. I felt like the juice that we drank was very, like, rindy.
You know, you can just buy juice from the store, right?
Next question, please.
I'd rather hand squeeze my juice.
Don't be rude. It has sugar in it at the store. This way it doesn't have any sugar, but it doesn't taste like orange juice.
It tastes like it doesn't have any sugar.
Okay. All right. Okay, those are both stall questions. Don't try to preview. These are sneaks. Okay. This is from my friend Charlie.
Hello, Charlie.
Charlie says, clinical studies on post-bariatric surgery depression raise some concerns for me. I'm wary of the serotonin drop and preparing to be extra vigilant about the potential mood impact. Any thoughts?
So,
first we want to start out by saying depression post-surgery is super normal. So if you have been in that place, because I think the perception is, I wake up from surgery, I go home, I finally lose weight. Why aren't I happy?
Like, okay, so you're going into surgery with the mindset that losing weight is gonna make you happy.
You might need mindset mastery.
You might need mindset mastery.
Not a launch. It's not launching right now.
But that's that's not gonna do it.
Right, because you can lose 100 pounds, stand in front of the mirror and still feel like the fat girl.
Well, and like your body changes, right? So like, I've lost over 100 pounds, but like, there's a lot of excess skin that comes along with that.
Speaking of excess skin, I have a whole video on that. You can see all of mine.
There's never gonna be a moment when you look in the mirror and think, that's it, I'm perfect.
I'm perfect, right, I did it. I did it.
I think that that's something you need to make sure that whoever you're having surgery with, like the program we went through was very
comprehensive.
Yes. And so they did, like, you had to get signed off by a therapist. And
that's pretty common.
Yes. Yeah. But I think that, like, you need to go into it for the right reasons. Like, yes, it made me healthier. Yes, I'm in a lot less pain. But like,
there's more mobility. I'm gonna live longer. Yeah.
Sure. But when like I woke up from surgery, I felt miserable for like 8 to 10 hours.
Well, and a lot of people feel miserable for so much longer than that.
Right.
Or they feel like they regret surgery.
Well, and in those moments you do. Right. Like I woke up barfing blood and I was like, I shouldn't have done this.
Right. I remember thinking, can I get my stomach back? Because living fat is tolerable.
Yeah.
And because it's a new unknown. Right. You don't know what you're stepping into.
But then like 8 hours later I woke up and I was like, I feel better. Like, then you don't regret it anymore. And but you can't go into it being like, losing weight will make me happy.
Right.
Because that's not enough. And then the depression after that can be real.
Yeah.
Also the depression around like food.
The FOMO.
Yeah.
And like, what you're, you need to, if you are in a place of pre-op where you can grieve your losses now versus having a craving or wanting to binge or emotional eat and you physically cannot, and then you feel like you're missing something, that you're depressed because you don't know how to have any coping mechanisms to deal with your food, like that's all very real.
So making those lifestyle changes before surgery
is ideal, but you can also make them after surgery as long as you know you need to make them.
But there are still like 2 events every year where I'm like, oh,
what are they?
I wish I could eat more. One of them is the bake-off at my school.
Okay.
Like, so my school does this like school-wide bake-off where everybody brings in food and you eat it and you rate it and somebody wins, and every year I'm like, I took these 2 bites. And, the other one is Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, like with boredness. I'm a picky eater. Like I like to pick. And so we do.
Also kind of actually picky though.
Well, yes. Less so now.
Yeah.
When we do Christmas Day, we do boardmas, and everybody brings a different board. Like a charcuterie board. Last year I brought a baked potato board, and like there's a sandwich board, and
we did a s'mores board.
Like I always want to eat more then, but I wouldn't call that depression either. I would say that's just like, but like if you're experiencing that every single day, it could certainly lead to that.
I feel like for me it's, and we talk about this like a lot on the channel, I think it's like Disney for me because it's so food centric, and you want to be able to have, like, I love the festivals because you can just pick at each place, but like if you're somebody who went from doing like 3 square meals a day in Disney at a sit-down resort, like
food.
It is, but it didn't used to be.
No,
we used to
right,
do
we
that.
used to just do
And
it.
you were giving up like 6 hours a day to literally sit and eat. And now we're like, we're gonna do 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
And the other meals are protein shakes / like
Pickies.
Yeah, pickies or
That
like,
have protein in them. That
right,
have-
or grab lunch and share and go.
My best advice is find a bariatric bestie to split all your meals with.
Honestly.
We have split multiple meals this week alone.
Really, that is the best advice we can give you, but not realistic for all.
No, but even
people.
like I can split sometimes with mom, and I can split sometimes with Ashley. You could probably split with Ashley.
Yeah, and Mark, we split a lot.
Right, and
but
they, like they're not all VSG patients.
because what we've learned is that if you have never been obese, portion sizes are crazy.
yes,
And whether
Yeah.
you've had surgery or not, like realistically, half a portion, if you're out to share, is usually enough for the average size tum-tum.
When we split food, we can't even finish it.
No, we just both literally had a delicious burger.
Oh, it was so good.
At a restaurant called The Fig and the Girl here in Sonoma County, and we both ate a quarter. We had
Right.
half of a half, maybe
Right.
even less than a half of a half.
You had less than
I
half of a
had,
half.
yeah, dinner is always my least amount of like intake.
But I'd say like, okay, so if you're concerned, like you're putting off surgery because you're concerned about the post-surgical depression, just make sure you have, like if depression is something you've struggled with in the past,
Yeah,
just
I
make sure
was-
you
yeah.
have a therapist that you trust and you're comfortable with, and don't go into surgery thinking this is gonna solve all my problems.
But also, like, I was on an antidepressant prior to surgery, and I was weaned off after. Part of that was because the pill I had to cut and it made me gag. Do you remember that?
It was gross.
And I'm like pretty.
Oh, she'll take gross pills.
I will take gross pills. Literally, I took a vitamin yesterday, and Mallory was like,
I
"Oh, where's it
gagged at
this
the
morning?"
smell of it.
And Mallory's like, "I could smell that. It's the one. It's the hair one. You know the one because I gag whenever I take it on camera too."
I won't take it.
But I took it, and I was like, "This one's gonna make me gag," and it did. But Mallory was like, "Oh, I can smell that."
I take a prenatal vitamin.
Do you? Does that?
It's good for your
It's really-
hair
it's
and
good
your
biotin,
nails,
yeah.
and it's got good folic acid in
Good
it.
idea. But anyway, the point is that like I was cutting my Wellbutrin and having to take that, and it made me like, and you know, when you're a week or 2 out of surgery, like that gag isn't just a gag.
No.
There's stuff in there. So I was like gagging every day. And so they asked, do you want to be weaned off this? And I thought, well, okay, I'll try. And haven't been put back on an antidepressant, but that's also because I have my therapist, shout out Anne, therapist Anne. I have my therapist, I have journaling, I have meditation. Like I have a routine now where I know if I'm getting out of sorts, what I need to do to handle it. And I like toward the end of last year, I was like, do I need to go back on an anti-anxiety? And so I started testing different like supplements and routines to see would it help. And I haven't answered that question fully yet because some days I'm like, you could really use that. And then I'm realizing that I'm very close to like my period heightens my anxiety. Does it do that to you?
I have never really truly struggled with depression and anxiety.
Oh, that's
So-
nice. Isn't that nice? But I noticed that like closer to my period, I have a harder time sleeping.
I'm meaner.
Well, that's PMS. I don't know if
Yeah.
that,
Sorry, kids.
sorry. Spouses
Both
and
my
friends.
own and
It's fine.
my students and the children I coach.
Listen,
Apologies.
having female hormones is tough, okay? It's just tough. Do you think we successfully answered that question? Charlie, if we didn't,
Let us know.
please let us know.
We'll come
okay. I don't know if we're medically qualified to answer this
Oh,
question,
I'm not
but
a
we're
doctor.
gonna answer, or at least ask it. Is the sleeve or a bypass better if you want to have another baby in the future, or does it
Ooh.
not matter?
I don't actually know because I didn't go into it thinking about having another baby because the two I have are a handful. But I know it's got to be like 2 years. Like I know with the sleeve you can get pregnant afterwards.
Yeah,
But you
well-
have to wait like 2 years.
I think in general, well, it's not 2, I think it's 1.
Oh.
We might not be answering this question appropriately. So like, please don't use this as the end all be all result here. But losing weight post-surgery, no matter the type of surgery you have, is gonna make you healthier, therefore more fertile.
They
So
did
there-
say that like
a lot of
accidental
women
pregnancy
have
is a
accidental
side effect.
right.
And I
So
was like, ooh, not
if
for
you
me.
don't want to be pregnant post-surgery, make sure you are taking the necessary precautions to not be pregnant.
I would consult with your doctor about it.
Me too. I think right now, the difference between, like, scientifically, between bypass and VSG is so much smaller
than it used to be
when you had surgery, even when I had surgery.
And I almost wonder if they'd recommend bypass because of the heartburn. So like they almost wouldn't give me VSG because I was having heartburn, but also my heartburn was because I was eating badly.
Sure, like we don't say badly.
Poorly. I was eating a lot of high-fat food.
Yeah, that caused heartburn.
Yeah. And so when I told the doctor that like, well, when I eat a healthier diet, I don't have heartburn.
Sure.
They were like, okay, and then you can have VSG.
Right.
But like when you're pregnant,
you just have a lot of heartburn.
You're more likely to get heartburn when you're pregnant. So I wonder if they would. I don't know.
But I know that you were recommended to wait at least a year, and that's because that's how long it takes your stomach to heal.
Well, and you're not getting the proper nutrients in those first couple of months.
Right.
Like you just can't. There's no way to intake
Your
enough.
body is barely supporting your own survival.
Right, so you can't support a baby.
I have had a friend who has had, in her 40s, she had VSG, she just had a successful, beautiful pregnancy.
Yeah.
And what I'm kind of watching in real time is like, how does your body recover from that? Because I have watched friends who are naturally thin bounce back in their bodies, and I didn't really have a body that I wanted to bounce back to.
So what was interesting for me was that I had 2 different bodies during my pregnancies, and not a VSG body, but like when I had my first pregnancy, I think I gained like 60 pounds during pregnancy, but I started skinnier. So like at my highest I was 270, but when I got pregnant with Zoe I was like 215.
Right, and remember how sick you were?
Yeah.
You like lost weight your first trimester.
And then I gained so much weight. And then after I had her, I breastfed all my weight away.
Right. Sorry.
So yeah.
Refills. Okay.
So I was like thinner.
Yeah.
Before and after I had Zoe. And then when I got pregnant with Charlotte, I was like 250 when I got pregnant. And the difference between 215 and 250 is big.
Well, especially
in a 5 foot tall body, but also with a pregnancy.
You are a petite human.
But I only gained like 12 pounds with
Charlie.
So I ended up being like the same weight at the end of both pregnancies, but I had a harder time recovering from Charlotte's.
Interesting.
So like...
Also, were you given any warnings about being fat during your pregnancies?
Well, yeah. Yes. I just recently went to the doctor and I saw 2 doctors in one day. I saw the OBGYN and I saw my primary care. And it was the first time in my whole life that I've been to the doctor and nobody called me fat.
Isn't that amazing?
Nobody. Not a single doctor blamed a single thing on my weight.
Everything's always blamed on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was my infertility. And I'm sure it was a factor, but I don't think it was the only factor because I don't want to say I was like a healthy obese because I don't know if that exists, but like I didn't have high blood pressure.
I had like healthy.
Right.
Yes.
But I had a hard time conceiving, Callie, which like we've talked about. But then every problem with my pregnancy
was because
including my like kidney stones was blamed on my weight.
My knee's always been blamed on being overweight.
Same.
The miscarriage was blamed on being overweight.
Right. They're like, oh, there are no other factors but your body.
The period's always been blamed on being overweight.
Right.
Like, and nobody blamed it. They were like, yeah, let's help
And
you.
I'm like, I lost over 100 pounds. What's wrong with my knee now? And they're like, oh, it's arthritis. Cool.
Right. It was arthritis before.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting.
But that was interesting. So yeah, I mean, the recovery was harder when I gave birth fatter.
Yeah.
Than when I gave birth less fat.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think in general, like, not that this has to do with birth or pregnancy, but like all things are harder.
Yeah, it was just interesting because at the end of each pregnancy, I was like 265. It's just that I gained so much weight with Zoe and then it came off so fast. And with Charlotte, I didn't breastfeed for as long, but I did those first 3 months. And that's when I lost all the weight with Zoe and I just couldn't get it back off with Charlotte.
Right. Well, right, it gets harder every time. And I had gestational diabetes.
I did with Charlotte too.
And that was blamed on my weight, which I'm sure again was a factor, but I also, like meticulously tracked what I ate.
Yeah.
I finger poked multiple times a day. And then I was told by an OBGYN like that I was at risk for a stillbirth.
Like 38 weeks into your
Right,
pregnancy.
and I was like furious by that news because
She did try to fire the OBGYN, but it was like too close to the end of her pregnancy.
it did.
There's nowhere else to go.
Right, I didn't have a choice in the matter, and Callie was born like perfectly healthy and of normal size, but I was told she was going to be
Charlotte,
a
too.
monster. Because
Well, they actually weren't sure about Charlotte because she also had that weird cord thing.
yeah,
And so they were like, she might be tiny, she might be huge. She was normal.
yeah, right.
She was totally normal.
So our too long didn't read answer is we don't know.
Ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor.
But it will be easier to recover from that pregnancy.
Post surgery.
Yes.
Yes. Do you meet your protein goal every single day? Every is capitalized.
Every single day? Probably not. Do I meet it?
You don't think so?
No. I mean, there's always going to be a circumstance here and there where you don't meet your protein goal.
What is your protein goal, gram-wise, every single day?
I don't know, a lot. That's what track
Heard it here first.
But I think I prioritize protein.
Yeah.
Even when I'm like snacking, I prioritize protein.
Girl loves a snack.
I love a snack.
Favorite food is cheese.
Oh, high in protein.
The amount of cheese we've had on this trip, no one's pooping ever again.
I mean, that's not true. It's normal people are pooping.
Not with the amount of cheese we've eaten.
I think I meet my protein goals 98% of days.
I think I meet my protein goal every single day. Not in the beginning.
Not
Let's be
in the
clear.
beginning.
Not
Since
in the
I
beginning.
could eat enough food to meet my protein goals.
Yeah.
I'd say 98% of
It's
days.
like
I've
wild
met
how
my
fast
protein
it
goals.
stacks up, and I try to sneak it in. So I am obnoxiously starting the day, if you follow on Instagram and we're friends. I'm starting the day with a protein shake every day. It's the same protein shake. They're living in the fridge right now. It's the same one every day for 6 years, but also with bone broth, and then I add in a collagen. I know.
I don't do any of that.
So my friend Liesl, who was here with us, said once that she's famous. She said it once, and it should be inscribed on something.
Famous quote.
She was like, her husband said to her, you will do almost anything for yourself if you think it's going to be good for you, like healthy for you. And I feel like I start the day with that mentality because I don't anticipate that after lunch I'm going to hit my protein goals, though I do every day.
Very much dinner.
I don't eat very much dinner. So I like stack my day starting very early in the morning with bone broth or my ginger tea that I made. I made it myself. It's like lemon, ginger, turmeric. And then
It's disgusting.
it's so good. And it's warm. And then I add in my protein powder to that, my like flavorless one that's actually flavorless. Okay, so I started. She just whispered the word placenta at me. It's not placenta.
You can't say things like this on the internet.
It's not placenta.
Colostrum.
It's colostrum.
Cow
Thank you.
colostrum.
I started taking Armra.
Stop saying it.
It's cow colostrum, and it has a little bit of protein in it because it's colostrum, and it has been good for my gut health. And it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't taste like anything.
Okay.
There are a lot of protein powders that claim they're flavorless and they taste like protein, and you're like, this is chalky and disgusting. The colostrum one, I simply put into cold water and I mix it.
I'm not gonna do it.
We're gonna test it someday. We're gonna do a TikTok and we're gonna test it.
I'm gonna tell you about meeting your protein goals as a normal human who doesn't do any of that.
I don't think what I'm doing is wild.
I try to start the day with a little bit of protein. So like I might have an egg. I might
time
do
for that.
toast with peanut butter on it. Just like something to get some protein into my body. I have a protein shake every day at snack time at school. So like 10:15.
You don't have it at breakfast?
No. Because I can't actually eat while I'm teaching because I'm busy.
Oh, that's weird.
So I drink.
No one else
I drink
is.
the protein
Okay.
shake instead of eating a snack.
Got
so
it.
I eat in the morning, eat some protein.
Okay.
Drink my protein shake at lunchtime.
Okay, so we're doing the same thing. I'm just eating colostrum and you're
And you're
eating.
heating up bone broth and homemade tea, and I'm eating toast with peanut butter on it.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't eat
Ew,
toast.
I'm not doing that either.
I have to go to school.
So then I make sure that my lunch, I pack my lunch from home. I bring it
same
home
every day. Yep.
And I make sure that it's protein centered.
Mine's leftovers every day.
Mine is, it's usually like chicken. I like batch cooked chicken on Sundays.
Okay.
And I'll eat it in different ways. So like
Mallory also loves her air fryer.
I do love my air fryer, but this I just grill.
Okay.
And I just eat chicken mostly every day for lunch.
The ADD part of this also is that she can hyperfixate on a food. I saw a TikTok recently that was like the best part of being ADD is when you have a new hyperfixation because it's fresh for you. I can't relate to that. I eat something different for lunch every single day, but mine are always leftovers.
Mine are not. They're always mostly chicken. Sometimes it'll be like taco meat. Okay. And I'll do that either with like some chips and cheese or in a taco or in an egg roll. Okay. And then I have, like I pack 2 cheese sticks every day as a snack.
Oh man.
She loves a cheese stick.
Cheese stick is my home in the car ride snack.
That way when it gets to dinner time, like we're always gonna have some sort of protein with dinner.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, after I put my kids to bed, I can like have a snack. And if I haven't had all my protein, I can make sure that snack is protein oriented.
Yeah.
And if I had, I can eat chickpeas.
I also feel like there's just ways to sneak it in, right? Like you can add peanut butter to a lot of things. Right. I like sour cream. I like cottage cheese. I know not a lot of people do, but like I don't mind like taking a few dollops of that and adding into whatever my dinner recipe is at night. Like there are ways to build it in, but I tend to put my protein heaviest in the morning because I know that I'm at least gonna get half of my days of protein by
before you even start.
Before I even really start my day. So that way anything else is like bonus protein, and I feel great that I've hit my protein goals.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time I do.
I'm gonna say
99% of the time I hit my protein goals.
I'm not trying to be like a preacher here, but I will say that it's, once you know how to get to your protein goals, it's not like tragically hard.
It's really not.
Yeah.
I would say there's maybe like 1 or 2 days a year that I'm like, oops, missed my protein goal today.
Right, and those, but also when you miss your protein goal, do you feel bad the next day?
Yeah,
my
but
body hurts.
I also feel like if I'm missing it, I'm not like missing it, like I didn't eat any protein that day.
I just feel like if I go...
But my body does start to crave protein if I haven't.
Right, you wake up and you're like, I would like a chicken sandwich.
Or like dinner time rolls around and I'm like, I need a steak. Like I tried to do tonight.
Right. Yeah, you feel it differently. And that comes too with, I think, listening to your body. Because
it's hard to learn.
It's hard to learn, but you're kind of forced into it.
You are.
Or, yes, that. But yeah, I feel like you'll know when you're not hitting it because you won't feel as great, or you'll lack the energy.
I don't hit it.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Once you learn the tips and tricks, it's not as hard as you think.
Yeah, and once you fall into a routine with like actually eating solid food again.
Yeah.
Because that was hard.
Yeah, that is right, because you're trying to balance
trying to like
again.
sprinkle protein powder and things and it doesn't belong there and it's weird, it's gross, and you're like, I'll just sip this bone broth, which I know you do for fun, but like
I'm not the like, but I like bone broth.
Well, that's good for you. I like Fairlife protein shakes.
I like both of those things.
Sponsored.
Wish it would be like Fairlife. Hit some girls up for Fairlife.
I hate it. Stop doing it. You're overstimulating.
So rarely do you say you hate something. Okay, start to put pajamas on. That is all.
Do you want me to say it? That's all the questions we have time for.
Mallory had to say it because I tried twice and couldn't say it out loud. Thank you for being here. If you have further questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please and thank you. We very much enjoyed having Mallory here as Bariatric Besties. She'll be back in the future. Just really hard to nail her down, that's all.
It's the competition season.
Isn't that true of all of life? We're gonna enjoy some wine.
And cheese.
And cheese, how weird, so much protein. Put our PJs on and maybe make it past 9 p.m. here on the West Coast.
It's 8:30, I'm gonna do it.
Crazy, so crazy, 40 is wild. Are you 38 now?
I'm
Mallory just celebrated a birthday.
No, I didn't.
Yes, she did. She's one of those weirdos who hates her birthday. Clearly not an Aries. What is your sign, in fact?
I am an Aquarius.
Like in the age of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about Aquarius, so if you want to enlighten me. Actually,
I
I know everything about an Aquarius. I just don't know what the traditional
Zoe's
Aquarius.
also an Aquarius.
Weird that she's your exact twin. Who knew? Okay, we have to let our friends who have been very
Quiet.
politely
Yeah.
hiding. Probably Liesel's just sound asleep. We'll go get her. Thank you for being here. We love you. Subscribe.
Cheers till next time.
Bye, friends. That's not where you have to cut.
Or making your husband get the snip snip.
These are the things we have to edit.